I never even looked this up before, I just saw it, but it's not quite the one I want, so I'm just going to look a little bit further after this, but founded in 1998. Yes, isn't that George Bush Senior, when he's been talking about One World Order and profiles? Yes, look, there's their sisters. The lot, you know, the profiles. That's also who they own. Look, YouTube and Facebook. They're the same people. Oh dearie me, but anyway, profiles. A short article giving a description of a person or an organisation, so they're part of the organisation. Yeah. There you go. I think that's the same information with the same profiles. Yes, quite interesting that, isn't it? We didn't even know what was happening. On Abandoned History, they were talking about this place today. What the programme today was saying was that Belgium was this buffer point between Germany coming and France. So they didn't want to be a part of that, but to keep everybody out, they made these guns, which we'll look at a little bit more in detail in a minute. But they said that they had been built brilliantly. I think, I can't quite, there you go, 1888 to 1884, and they had used concrete. But they weren't expecting the German gun, and because it kept pounding it, it destroyed it. Anyway, we'll look at a few pictures now. In a way, it's quite incredible that it's in this, I think this is it, well, in fact, there was 9 of these they built to face the Germans. I mean, they must have built them super duper quick. They said they got these ready because the First World War was coming. So, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. But they got these 9. There's 9 of them in a sort of semicircle in Belgium. I mean, to me they look a bit like they're in bits of Starfort, to be honest. So here it is. Hopefully that writing is big enough for you to read. In fact, what it's saying is that the Russians were coming, but the Germans decided to sneak in there and do what they had to do. But this is quite incredible because this wall is lower, and they're saying they ricocheted guns so that they could ricochet round the corners and kill you wherever you were in this triangle. Yeah, but they still got destroyed. But anyway, let's look at a few more pictures of it. It's saying here it opened in 1881. Quite well advanced then, but then star forts and things, they haven't told us the truth about what they are and the whole thing. So, yeah. Anyway, you can go and see this one. These soldiers are put there coming out of the ground because not only is it a war memorial or a place you can go and visit, but also people died there and their bodies, they say, are still under the ground. But it's this I wanted to look at. I don't think it was used very much. It happened supposedly in the First World War then, isn't it really? So those guns were quite amazing. Or was it the Second World War? I can't remember now. I think it was the First World War, get it right. Yeah, look, 14 to 18, whoops. And, yeah, it got destroyed. But you see, when you see this, it looks more star fort-like, like that is a part of a star fort, but this managed to get destroyed. But look, this is the triangle bit around it. Because, you know, there is a little bit of, I suppose, bullets, whatever, but considering all the bit they showed today didn't really show that this place was pounded with bullets to kill the people who'd come in. But I suppose that's why the Germans used a gun. But what it was is they put the concrete in, and they said that they had not put reinforcement in the concrete like they would today, metal rods and that, so that when it got pounded with this gun, it just, and I think they blew it up, and don't forget there's lots of ammunition and things down there, and it just, well, anyway, quite destroyed. But these are to represent the soldiers who lost their lives there. Again, to me, when you actually look at the building.
I'm on the outskirts of Liège. I'm visiting one of the 12 forts from the beginning of World War I. Now, this fort has a significance in two things. First of all, a secret weapon that was developed by the Germans and used on this place, and a material that proved to be a design fault at that time this fort was built. The Germans were using something called the Schlieffen plan, which is they wanted to attack France through Belgium and then hopefully surround it, and France would actually theoretically surrender. Now normally fortifications previous to this one were built out of masonry, brick and cement really, but the Belgians were experimenting with a new type of product. They thought that it would probably be easier to build and would take not as long as a bricks and mortar would. And the new material was called concrete. Now the problem is concrete was very new to the Belgians, and no doubt to the world probably, and the way they've mixed it and where they used it. This is one of Germany's new siege guns, 420mm caliber, which is twice as big as the Belgians had. It's called Big Bertha, and its range was 9,300 metres or 30,500 feet. You imagine a series of these firing down. If you're in this fort here, it's firing down constantly.
At the beginning, he talks about it being a secret weapon. I suppose you can see that it has been, there's gun marks on it, and this is one of the guns that's left. It's quite incredible. I'm looking at all this, and I think, well, anyway, I think this video will unfold. I think they're all star forts, and they've been remodelled. Star forts that have been remodelled have been added to in the 1800s and then turned into these things, but they started off as star forts, and this is what this video is going to unfold. Thank you very much to that gentleman who made this video. Obviously yeah, it's on YouTube. It's if you just look up Fort de Loinsin. Very interesting indeed. This is what's left.
On this area, between the 12th and 15th of August, a shell, a 420mm shell, hit that central massive where the concrete is. It didn't pour any lighting out to carry on pouring, so it all poured as one fixed amount of concrete. So in the morning when they come again to lay the rest of the concrete, then there was obviously a fault in it. So there was obviously a joint between the bottom concrete and the top concrete, and every many layers they poured. Secondly, and I think most importantly, they didn't understand about reinforced bar. They didn't put any reinforced bar in here. So as these howitzers, these shells were hitting it, we're just taking layers and layers off it, and eventually it got down. It was that thin, it just penetrated the actual concrete and blew the magazine up below it. And more likely, thirdly, is they may, as far as I would say, not understood about how you get sand cement chippings together by vibrating or tampering it. tamping it down. In other words, to get the bubbles out. Now in later fortifications, Second World War, just before, like for instance Fort Ibn Emil, that would have been a much tougher fort to destroy, because it had probably been poured at the correct time with no doubt in one pour, and most importantly it had reinforced bar running straight through it.
So the picture on the right is the gun on the left, or what is left of this gun. Yeah, it's not much, is it? But they spent all this time and effort on building the place. I just cannot believe that they got the concrete wrong. No, I don't believe that.
The German shell was twice as big as their own, and this fort was never designed to cope with such a big shell. Only the size of the shell the Belgians had, which was 21 centimetres or 210 millimetres. This is one of the Gusenwerk Krupp rotating rising turrets, 21 centimetre guns, which you can see one there, slight protruding out. I'd raised about 30,000 feet, I think it were, roughly the same distance as the Berthas.
So when you go to Belgium and look up, there are quite a few star forts in Belgium, but it's more difficult to find the gun forts, even though they were star forts. So let's carry on. I think I managed to do it, bar one. But I went to Google, couldn't find it there, and I had to do it through videos. But there's some of them. And then here are those ones. There you go. So this one, this one, this one. So all on with arrows we've done. The only one I didn't find one was that. But if all these are some kind of star forts, then or come from something like that, or definitely technology before that, then I'm pretty sure that this one would be the same. Anyway, let's carry on with the video. So yeah, so it took me quite a while to do it, because look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, there's quite a few of them, isn't there? So there is one of them. See, and I just reckoned that they're all star forts. There you go. When you start looking up some of the old pictures, you start finding them. So I went that way first of all, and trying to put in Belgium star forts, but it wouldn't give me them. But these are some of the star forts in Belgium. Look at that, Nama Woolan, Belgium. Oh, quite a lot of star forts there, wasn't there? More of them. These are Belgium. So what I had to do, as I said, was I had to find videos with them on, because it's the only way to kind of show them then. Bit ridiculous really, but that's what I think's happened. They've hijacked them and changed them into, oh, it was built in 1888, but it wasn't. They were all built in probably the 1600s, whenever, because most of history is a lie, whenever they built them, and so they were far more advanced back then. We've done a backward turn on everything. So again, a picture of those forts, and there is La Forte de Flaron. So again, see the lines in it? That is going to be a star fort, isn't it? Excuse my pronunciation on everything. So this is this fort, and we're just going to go through a few of them. And when you see that it's in one of these triangle things, so it was obviously built at about the same time. Whatever they were, then they got turned into gun forts, or maybe that's what they were. Leaves and things, which they haven't shown you the rest. But this is the next one now. Fort Van Leer. That's definitely a star fort, that one. And those buildings look older, don't they? They look 1600s. And then when you just pan out, there you go. Star fort. Very interesting. Thank you very much for that person who made that video. Just trying to connect all these forts. They're star forts. See, that one says 1888. And this is Fort Man. Now his channel is full of them. That's Cam eating again, if you can hear him. So he has a whole channel full of forts. So very interesting if you want to go and see those. Look at that. Those things down there, they're a different era and there's different concretes and things. This looks different to this. See, that looks older. Probably part of the Star Fort. The original Star Fort. Yeah, it says it's built in 1886. He's making so much noise. Anyway, there's that person's channel. Look at that, video after video of forts. And then this one's Lantin. Oh yes, Fort Man still, sorry. They all look the same, see? So this fort here, Emberg, that is now turned into an activity centre where these people are playing war games. But look at the tunnels, they look a bit like the ones in Devon. You know, where... Oh God, I can't remember his channel now. I quite like him, but there he's going down those steps and he went down and down and down. Cam, shut up! Noisy cat. But anyway, look, see, it's just... It almost could look like a pneumatic train place, doesn't it? The tunnels are about the right size, but they're star forts. This is underneath. It's like a tube station, doesn't it, in a way? As well. But anyway, anything with these corridors and arches. And then this one is another one built in 1888 that has water around it. And this one, oh, we've moved the thing, hang on a second. So obviously these children can go climbing in the fort and on the outside of the fort, but these things are inside. And Star Fort again, or part of one, or what's left of one. But anyway, 1883. But there you go, look at that. There you go, ta-da!
Fort de Pointis was one of the 12 forts that was built around Liège in Belgium in the late 19th century, this one constructed between 1881 and 84. It was built according to the plans of General Henri Brialmont. Him we will hear a lot more about since he had a lot to do with fortress construction in that era. Now this fort for the first time was built exclusively of unreinforced concrete, at that time a new material rather than masonry. During both World War I and World War II, the fort was heavily bombarded by German artillery and saw extensive action. The fort was built as an irregular trapezoid. A 6 by 8 meter ditch or moat encircled the fort within. The principal armament was concentrated in the central massif.
So, in this video, and obviously the first person's video to the last video, basically they're all on star forts. So, looking at this newspaper report, there's those ones there, and there's another bunch down there, so there's even more of them. Oh, history is quite exciting when you do find. But anyway, these are, they do mention the Fort de Flamal. I had to find it on a video, but I struggled when looking at the computer. And that one there is the Citadel at Liège. So that's what they call the one the guy's talking about at the beginning. That's that one, and it's the Citadel. There's another one. Don't know if that's on the list. Some of these aren't on the list, but anyway, that's to show you what it was like inside. I mean, if they could do all this in the 1800s, even this part. Yeah, inside the things, which in the first video I think you can see is blown up because it's some kind of container with them in it. Now that picture looks old, but they're building with wood. There was nothing wood in there, was there? Lots of wood in that, but anyway, just more pictures of the fort. But they always come back to Star Fort. See? There's an old picture of that one. There's another one, and that was built in 1695, so there you go. You can't ever tell the truth, can they? So anyway, that was very interesting to realise that they're all star forts that have been turned into those gun batteries which were destroyed in the First World War, but that was the end of Tartaria. So that kind of explains things to you a little bit. Even look, Antwerp, that is a star fort. Anyway, thanks very much for watching this video. Look at that. So, what can you say, really? They just lie all the time, don't they? I'm making this video on Sunday evening. Early Saturday morning it was -4 degrees, which is that in Fahrenheit. -4. And we get to Sunday evening and it's 11 degrees. So I keep a bit of an eye on the temperature. But this afternoon it just rose quite drastically to 11 degrees. Unless this is wrong, it's 2048 and it's still 11 degrees. Ooh, 11 degrees. Sorry about that. Unless this is wrong and hasn't caught up, but it doesn't feel very cold. And the heating hasn't come on. But don't you find that's crazy? How can we go from -4 to 11 degrees in a few hours, and then today it's stayed at 11 degrees? Yeah, I find that really weird. We can go from -4 to 11 degrees. That's 15 degrees in a day. That's quite a big jump. I mean, if it was, say, 30 or 40 degrees and then it jumped by that, you'd be roasting, wouldn't you? So that's a bit crazy. How can the temperature do that, unless what it is they know we're not really in our months. You know, there's the extra month. I put it in one of the videos the other day. So really there should be 13 months to the lunar calendar. So each month it just goes out and out and out. I mean, I suppose occasionally it must marry up, but and it's just creating things. It doesn't mean we're not. Sometimes the temperature in winter is the same time as in the summer. It's crazy. What's your thoughts on all that? I mean, it's just crazy. Come on, these temperature things. I mean, England itself isn't actually that far from the Antarctic Circle, or the North Pole. Scotland's only a few hundred miles away from it, and yet they say, due to this warm water that comes through the channel, it keeps us from freezing all winter. Yeah. Anyway, I just thought that's quite crazy that my computer is saying 11 degrees. It's very windy and blustery out there. Don't know if you can hear it. The wind is going mad out there a bit, but I just find that really weird. Don't forget, a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, last week, we were going to get drastic snow everywhere, and that didn't happen. Yeah, I just thought I'd make a little video about that.
Hello, Karen. I seem to remember Robert Force has a beautiful question for people in Tell Me Something You Don't Know. Now, if he was to ask me, because I know everything, I can't say that I know everything, but I know everything. Because it's all contained within technology, so that's saying about, you think you're it, well, it's exactly it. A technology is a design, the human body is a design, it's a kind of organic technology. Inside it is informed. For example, on the physical sense, the heart knows exactly what to do, all the organs know exactly how to function, the cells know how to interact, and so on. So it's totally informed. So there's no need to submit any forms, because it's a submission. Clues in the wording. What I could say as an answer is, I can't tell you something, but I can tell you something, and that is, everything comes out backwards. It's all reflections. So of course sometimes one or other polarity can flip. So with a mirror, left goes right, right goes left. So it's the vertical axis that changes, long shadows, short shadows, but the horizontal or linear, the line that's near the linear, that one will stay the same with the shadow. Where can we go with this? Because we can go so many places. Let's talk in mechanical terms about the physical body. Imagine something that really starts to get under your skin. A hedge trimmer, garden equipment, there's a neighbour that's out there for this. Let's just examine the process and the potential of where that could go. It's expressed as 12 disciples. This is the character called Judas, who sells out for 30 pieces of silver. Sells out. It's the key part here. Now, this is not advocating hate Jews. This is not advocating pointing the finger. It is a necessary role that somebody had to play at. The world is a stage. In every theatre show you have a villain. They're not bad. Just playing a part. They're chosen to play that way. And now they're the chosen ones, and nobody else is worthy. They're not God's children, as it were. It's just a whole load of nonsense when it's taken that literally. So the key to it all. So when something gets under your skin, if you imagine the human body made up of lots of little tiny circles, but then one goes black, it's a cell out. Light's extinguished out of it, it's turned acidic. It's from that thought, from the central processing unit, the mind, that there's leaked out what really should have been just contained in the mind and just observed and then questioned. It's like, why is that getting under my skin? Why am I feeling triggered by it? Why am I not in control of it? I'm aware of it, so I now need to address it and control it. Because the consequences of this, that cell that has now turned black, you could see that as the devil. In the story, the devil or the fallen angel has those that are loyal. That one black cell will start infecting the cells around it. The physical body will tell on them and give warning. So it may come out as an ache, it may come out as something more severe, a cut, an infection, cancer. And it can be addressed, it can be turned around. It's just purely changing the perspective of thinking. That's the repentance. There's also such a thing as squaring the circle. or the idea that the Earth is in a cube. Now, what's also, there are certain religious groups that wear a black cube, roughly where their third eye should be. Symbolically, it is suggesting that black artery is contained the most animalistic, negative aspect of oneself. It's under control, it's not going to spill out and let the deepest, darkest psychopath level of that one negative thought from that one cell taking control of the entire physical body, and now you've murdered the person with the hedge trimmers. That's a bit excessive, because you made a judgment that you don't like something. What I would suggest, because it's a world stage, that is a script of the road to self-destruction. That's putting that aspect of oneself into a cube, a contained field. You can't kill it, it's a part of you, it's individual. You're a co-creator. And just like a singular source creator, being an aspect of that creator, you also have aspects of you in multiple forms. So you'll have an extreme negative side as much as you will have an extreme positive side. Now, if you are truly the captain of your vessel, you've plotted into the negative or the positive. It will take you off course, of course. Clues are in the language with all these things. And of course, if you look through whatever you would consider to be history, you'll see there are certain figures that stand out in generations for various reasons. That's something called inspiration, inspiration. It's a little bit of the truth as a thought, as an idea given to one individual to help guide. And I could go as far as to say it is I, and when I'm talking about I, I'm not talking about I, the individual, I'm talking about I at the deepest, darkest core that is speaking through this vessel, putting it into man's descriptors, which are words, which are not really seeing something for what it is, but it's woefully and adequately trying to describe things, paint pictures. The creator of everything is the supreme artist. Just like the business world, it delegates to itself, to aspects of itself. Like you would have a corporation with a president, you'd have a vice president, secretaries, and so it filters. And this is what the higher hierarchies are. We are the Elohim. That's the truth of it. Do you not know that you are gods who die as men? You're in a human experience. In the physical realm, everything has a limitation. One of those limitations is things are finite. They're just experiences. But it's important to not cheat. So let's just have a look at the word cheat. It consists of C. Now if we split that off, because this is what we're wanting to do, we want to see. And it's expressed in those 5 letters of cheat. So if you split the C off, so you're standing back and seeing you're left with heat. So by trying to cheat to find your way out of this without doing it, you won't see the heat. You won't realise you're playing with fire. That's not the right type of play. But of course the world is a stage, and that type of play would be a tragedy, of course. But it doesn't have to be like that at all. I'm just, I had to come in to do this at the end, take a physical form. It just happens it's this physical form. It's not a question of whether you believe me. It's a question of you find it in the you. What I will tell you is, it's expressed as there being fiery angels or a fiery angel that guards the gates to heaven. How things are played out in the material. So you get some celebrity, some dignitary, say a president of a nation goes to visit the White House, you'll have the Marines, and they bar anybody from entering that they didn't know, and they wouldn't let them pass. This is exactly the same thing. But you can't enter heaven with fear. All you have to do is contain that fear in your very own individual tartary. Feel that devil in that cube. You confine it. In this reality, in the material sense, somebody that does wrong is confined. They are imprisoned in a cell. Again, look at the clues in the words with all of this. So what this really comes down to is total mastery of another aspect of this reality. Picture the yin and yang symbol. How many circles do you see for a start? There's more than 3. But within each half of that, if you're looking at that white half, you'll see there's a black circle. If you're looking at the black half, you'll see there's a white circle. Each duality has a duality to its duality. So therefore, when we talk of karma, there is individual karma, which is actually quite easy to be forgiven and the slate wiped clean. But the key one here is the collective world karma that is created by each individual, which does come from any thoughts. So if you've got a little psychopath that's running riot in your mind and is now starting to overspill and is going to lead you as a physical being into doing something that is probably not the most preferable path to be taking, should we say, because this has to be done with no judgment, so I'm not going to say it's right or wrong. Who am I to judge? Well, I can judge. That's the whole point, because I know who I am, and I know that I am speaking through I. No one sees the Father except through the Son, so the Father's talking through the Son at this precise moment. And remember, everything's flipped and it's all reflection, so Mo becomes Om. Om is light, Om is the Sun. Something that was expressed with World War II. There's such a thing as freeze, fight, flight or fawn. Now, probably the worst of those is fawn. Fawn also means young deer, but in this case it's oh deer. Because on the Eastern Front there was certainly freeze, there was certainly fight, there was certainly flight, and to some degree there was fawn. But what is also being shown in the bigger scheme of things is it's facing instead of going with the sun. That's not to say that the communist side is going with the sun either. That would be a very false sun indeed. But the universe will do more and more clues, and I invite you to put this one to the test. It's probably one of the easiest ones to do. Think of a song, or allow a song to pop into your mind. Now put out a thought to the universe, a wish to hear that song, to see how long it takes before it comes on the radio, or it may, as it were, from the thoughts, and it may be a different song by the same artist. It's pretty near enough for the... What is happening is there's nothing physical except in the end product, which is the recipient from the request. What you put out into the universe will come back tenfold. So if you put out a wish for a piece of music, working through the metaphysical, through the unseen, in what is behind the ether itself, will spark as an idea somebody who works in a radio station, who then gives that idea to whoever schedules the programs, and sure enough, a piece of music will come into that program. It doesn't involve anything actually physical, except the agents, the physical bodies in which subconsciously all these things are playing out. That is just the universe. There are things that man could work out about this universe, like predictability of blood type of a child. It would appear to be a random pattern, but there is a calculation that can be done. But the only trouble with that calculation is, if you think pi is infinite, with number of places to the right of the decimal point, well, mutations to produce the program to show you where a child of one particular blood comes out, it doesn't seem to have any pattern. It would take every tree, never mind to print the entire world debts in banknotes would mean the destruction of every tree. This would be beyond that, far beyond that. And of course with the same result if you've removed all the trees. You may find yourself in a very compressed state, collectively, to be recommended to be played out. Besides, that would be material wealth, which is not eternal wealth. You can't take banknotes with you beyond this physical reality, the physical body behind. But as in the Elton John song that was made such a big thing of with the death of Lady Diana, Princess of Wales, 97, live your life like a candle over wind. It's not a physical candle, because if you did it with a physical candle, it may be a gust of wind, but the candle in this sense is totally metaphysical. That is you at your core level. Now there is no fear of a gust of wind, and there's also a certainty beyond any doubt whatsoever that you are an eternal flame. So all these scripts, they just burn if you get too close to the flame. The light's too strong, and you don't have to accept a script which is a path of self-destruction at all. That'll just bring you back here in another vehicle, another human body, but you won't be given the backstory, given advantage over another. You get the slate wiped clean. It's like, here you go, have another go, until you can walk on this path. That's all it takes. Just that inner standing of self, that surety, that total down the middle balance. See, I know where the next pole's going to be. I know exactly where it is. I know the reality that some will go into. Oh, on a sort of related subject, are there such things as NPCs? Is a question often asked. Like everything else, you can look to the answer in the external. If you think of the human body as being like a shell, and what is the physical body has lent itself to greatly is architecture. Now, do you or do you not get abandoned houses, which, depending on their state of dereliction, you could say are empty shells? So, are there such things as NPCs? Well, are there such things as abandoned houses? I think you have the answer in that. So, that's 20 minutes I've spoken for you. It's big in this present moment, so I will say love to you all. Hopefully that sparked and inspired